Years ago, before the expat trends of recent years and the advent of the internet, one of my late father's classmates, who is now also deceased, worked a number of years for an oil company in Saudi Arabia. Back then, very few African Americans were living and working abroad, and KSA, or the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, was not so open to non Muslim foreigners from the West. But my father's classmate and old friend did work there and came back to the States with his wife from Guyana, whom he had met in Saudi. She had been a nurse there. We still have the big hand woven basket from KSA that he gave us. As promised, I wanted to do a video concerning practical ideas for those thinking about or preparing to move and work abroad. I will be presenting general information about things you should do and consider, but it is up to you to do your due diligence to bring things into fruition. This video is also geared particularly toward Americans who are thinking about becoming expats. But I will also give useful information for anyone who is a traveler and plans to live abroad for an extended period of time. A good place to begin your preparation is the embassy website of the country you are considering going to. Embassy websites have various important information. In particular, you need to find out about the types of visas and the work permit that you can apply to that has to do with your situation and how long you can stay in the country. If the website's language gets too technical, you can contact the embassy via email or phone. Now, of course, you cannot get on a plane and leave a country without a passport. At this time, the fees for the U.S. passport book run at $130. If you are a first time holder, you have to pay an additional $30 additional acceptance fee. STEP stands for the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. It's a free service by the U.S. State Department for American citizens. STEP will provide you with free updates about safety in the country where you reside. The U.S. Embassy will contact you if there is an emergency, and it will also help your family and friends get into contact with you when there is a dire situation. Sometimes forums are far more useful than some expat YouTube channels that get into more gossipy and chatty material rather than beneficial information. Search for forums where people are providing vital and practical news and information about things happening on the ground that will help you in your move. Moving abroad is a huge step filled with challenges. For some, the challenges will always linger, and what they thought was the best move for themselves turns out not to be. For some expat YouTubers, they will paint a fantasy about where they are. Don't take these types of channels seriously. It takes a deeply honest and mature person to say that things are not going well where they are and to advise others sincerely and without personal agendas. Some of us love to read and some of us do not. If you don't like to read extensively, your local public library will likely carry books for young readers about different countries. These books are short and easy to read and will be beneficial in the long run. The pocket sized Culture Shock series of books are also a good resource about the basics of a given country's culture. English is the chief international language and the language of business and the internet. Many countries have at least one English newspaper and accompanying website. If you want to be up on what's happening in a country, read some of its online periodicals. Basic greetings, numbers, and how to count in the national currency, important phrases and idioms, and questions are a must to know. Not only will they help you to establish yourself on a more steady footing, but some of the locals will love it that you are making an effort to communicate with them in their own language. One of the wonders of moving to another country is the learning curve that you can potentially have if you are open to new ideas. If you are American and moving to another country, it may be far more economical and nutritious to learn how to cook some of the cuisine of the country rather than to eat out at US owned restaurants and fast food joints. Cooking food from a different culture can be stimulating for the mind. There are many recipe websites and YouTube cooking channels devoted to cuisine from all over the world. Find out what is the exchange rate between your country's currency and that of the country where you are planning to go. As of the recording of this video, the top 10 strongest currencies in the world are the US dollar, the euro, the Kuwaiti, Bahraini, and Jordanian dinars, the British pound, the Omani rial, the Gibraltar pound, the Swiss franc, and the Cayman Island dollar. Last year, when a Turkish friend and her family invited my mother and I to move to Turkey, I mentioned that I would like to work part time, perhaps in a school. But she advised me not to because the Turkish lira was very weak at that time and it would be a waste of my time, she told me. She said that I should stick to my current job since I am being paid in US dollars, which are strong against her country's currency. Can you afford the necessities in a country? Finding out what the cost of living is and the rate of inflation are vital. If you are moving to another country, you are going there chiefly to improve your living conditions and to have new experiences. Economics is a must. If you are abroad and get locked out of your bank account or can't use your credit cards, did you contact the bank and the credit card companies prior to going abroad? Save yourself the headache and let them know which country you will be in so that when you use your cards, they will not be blocked because it is believed someone has stolen your cards or card numbers and is trying to engage in fraudulent activity. Find out what are the requirements of opening a bank account in the country. Make sure you bring along all of your important documents. Even if you are young and fit and you plan to live abroad, the question of access to quality health care is vital. Find out if you will need to buy your own health insurance, say if you are a digital nomad or if you will be employed outside your home, whether your employer will be paying for it. You might be surprised that there are some expats that do not even know what kind of political system they are living under in the country that they consider their new home. Some of the locals will be impressed if you express that you know. If you plan to be a digital nomad, you need to find out what is the quality of the internet and the condition of the electric grid where you will be living. Are there regular power cuts and internet outages? Depending on which country where you go, if you have an employer, some will provide you with a package deal on housing and other amenities. In some places, you will have to find a real estate agent for apartment rental. And others, you might have to pay upfront a deposit of 6 months worth of rent. The situation varies, so before you leave, find out all the various hurdles you will have to jump through. Some countries have floods, some extreme heat, others typhoons or cyclones, still others earthquakes. Find out what are the possible natural calamities that you might experience abroad. As long as you are an American citizen, you will be responsible for paying your taxes. Some of the tax laws for expats can be complicated. So before you leave the States, talk with a knowledgeable tax preparer, accountant, or tax lawyer, or you can first make your start with the IRS website. Even with the best laid plans, sometimes things go awry. So before you let go of everything you own back home, keep some of your personal effects or property. Put things in storage. If you have a house, consider the pluses and minuses of renting it out and getting that income. Always keep something back home because you might have to return. When I was growing up, I remember the words from a popular sports program: the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Deciding to move abroad and become an expat can be like that. There are so many things to consider in preparation for a move. Not preparing enough or romanticizing the move can end in defeat. But with maturity, realistic expectations, and thorough planning, your move abroad can be a tough, along the way journey, but a well earned victory. I will be putting some information related to this video in the description section. All right, so I'm going to end here. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. This is Sincere. Until next time.